Hello, hello, everybody. Welcome to Small Streamer Diaries, the podcast. This is episode 15. Woo! Okay, so this is actually a very important episode for me because I made it a goal to make it to 15 episodes because I saw a tweet back in December, late December. Danny Miranda, big podcast guy, he posted a stat saying that, I don't know where he got this from, but I mean, I believe him. He posted a stat saying that 50% of all podcasts have less than 15 episodes. And I was like, okay, then I'm going to make it my first big milestone to make it a 15 episode. So Lil P and Commander Frost, thank you so much for joining me for my 15th episode.
You are very welcome. So glad to have us both here.
So Lil P and Commander Frost have been on the podcast before. They were on the episode So What's Good About Twitch Anyway? The answer is nothing. No, I'm just kidding. We talked a lot about good things about Twitch. So if you want to check that out, it'll be in the description. I'll also link it here and at the end of the video. If you want to find out more about Lil P and Commander Frost, go watch that episode because they did intros of themselves in that episode. I'll also have their links below in the description. Please check them out. They're really, really good friends of mine, and they give up their time for me to do this podcast, which I really, really appreciate. And I just don't tell them that, off the podcast or offline because I want people to know that you guys gave up your time for me. So thank you so much. All right, so
thank you.
Yes.
Today's topic is how do we balance our personal lives with streaming and content creation, because we're all very busy. None of us do this full time. And most of the streamers and content creators I know, most of them don't do it full time either. And most of us are trying to get to that point where we do it full time. So it's very, very difficult. Like, some of us have families, some of us have full-time jobs. We just have a whole bunch of other hobbies and other things that we want to do in our lives, or trying to travel, see our friends, see our family, whatever regular life has us doing, on top of trying to stream and content creation, which takes up many, many hours. A lot of people IRL do not understand how much work it is to stream and do content creation. So my first question to you guys is, how do you find the time to fit streaming and content creation into your lives?
You want me to go first?
Sure.
Yes.
So one of the biggest things I think is just discipline with it. One of the biggest pieces of advice that you'll see anywhere when it comes to streaming or stuff in general is have a schedule and stick to it. That's like big for me as well. It was one of the things that I really tried to do. And schedules can change and all that. Like, I try to stream at least 3 times a week. That has always been my goal. And usually most weeks I try to make it. And I think that's one of the big things is having that schedule. Like, Fridays and Saturdays, I'm usually not online at all, whether it be on Twitch, on YouTube, anywhere. Like, usually we're going out with friends or family, out to eat, maybe go to a local place, watch a local band, do something like that. And it's important to have that time. And then also, it's a hobby as well, which is, I think, important for a lot of people, is understand it's just a hobby. Don't make this your whole life straight away. And it's not healthy. And that's what you see with a lot of the full-time streamers, is that's all that they're doing, and they have no time for family. But to me, is that really a fun and fulfilling life if you are just doing that and you're not going out, you're losing friends, losing family just to try to make it online? I guess it's just where your priorities lie. But I think the biggest thing is sticking to it, and to have people who support you in your life to do it is huge. My wife was fully supportive of me streaming, and she understood the importance of having a schedule, sticking to it. If you're going to tell people you're going to be there, to do it. But it's not so set in stone, well, we can't do this fun thing because I have to stream on this day. It's no, we want to go to a concert, or we're going out of town, or we want to go to an event. Usually I stream Sunday nights, but the past few weeks we went over to a friend's house, watched the playoffs in the NFL. It was yeah, you still do that because all that stuff is very important. But sticking to a schedule is at least a really good start, because you're all right, these days I'm going to be streaming, working on content creation, whatever. These days I want to set aside to spend time with family and friends.
Hmm. All right,
I
Commander,
would
your turn.
I would agree with Little P.
Yeah.
Setting a schedule is one of the most important things, and trying to stick to it. But it's okay if you can't. Life happens. We've all got life outside of us. For those, or at least for us three, for me and Little P, I know for majority of this is a hobby for us. We are trying to make it full time. That's not something that we want to necessarily do right away. It's going to take time. We understand that. Um, and then going on with what Lil P said, having somebody in your life who understands your goals and is willing to help out, like Lady P does for you, what Frostbunny does for me, having somebody there to assist helps out a lot.
Yeah.
But I don't think I could be able to do what I do without her
Yeah.
at my side. I know that.
Yeah. You know, it's interesting because I don't have a schedule, but I still put out content pretty consistently. But it's also just, I don't know, it's just something that I'm very, very interested in doing it. So it's like stuff that I want to do in my free time anyway. So even though I don't have a schedule, I'm still motivated enough to put out content like this podcast. So I think you do have to have one or the other. So if you don't have a schedule, you need to have that drive or that motivation to just want to put out content, because just the type of person that I am, I'm very like, I want to like say something. So I want to put out content with the things that I want to like analyze and I want to discuss, and I just want to like put my voice out there. And that's just something I like really, really want to do. Like I'm very vocal about like my opinions and things. So I just like want to put that out there. So I think you definitely have to have something like driving you, whether it's a schedule or your passion, motivation, whatever. But you definitely need something to drive you to put out the content.
Yeah.
So how?
Yeah, and even though you may not have
Mhm.
like a set schedule, you still stream at like the same times.
Yep, that's
which
true.
which is important. So even like one of the things was usually Monday nights, because I started to stream somewhat a little bit more, but then I was like, you know what? Usually I might stream Monday nights, but sometimes we like to go out for a bit on Mondays. But it's like, so if after that I'm gonna still set that time aside to edit videos and
Yeah,
shorts and all that. So instead of like, okay, well, I'll be streaming at this time, it's like, okay, I'm still gonna work on this, but it's the same time I would have been streaming anyways. And that's all, that's important for growth as well. It's when people know if you're there at the same time, you don't want to be like, okay, well, Mondays I'm gonna stream at 7, and Tuesdays I'm gonna stream at like 8 o'clock in the morning and not do nothing at night, because then
yeah,
it's just gonna throw it off. Which it's fine to do that every now and then, but that's like the big thing is doing the same stuff the same time. Because I know you've done before in the past is you've canceled streams or said, hey, I'm going to work on a bunch of shorts and TikToks that I have built up, same time that you would have been streaming.
yeah.
And it's just that whole routine. Like, okay, well, I have this time frame. I'm either going to be streaming or like editing. And that just all goes down to discipline too, and how much you're self-disciplining yourself to, okay, I need to put time to do this.
Yeah, that's a really good point, because even though I don't have a schedule of certain days that I stream on every week, it is always at the same time of night. Like it's always at night. Like I never stream in the daytime, even on the weekends. Like it's always at night. It's always around like somewhere between like 8 and 9 p.m. Central Time. So it is always that time. It's just on different days. But yeah, and I mean, I never even realized that until you just said it now. But yeah, it is always like the same time of day. It's just not always on the same day. So people do ask me in streams, they're like, oh, when do you stream? And I do tell them like, oh, I don't have certain days that I'm streaming on every week, but I'm always on at the same like time frame at this time of night. So, if you just wanted to like see if I'm on, you could check YouTube around this time of night and I might be on, but it would always be that
also use
time.
the
You'd be
community
live right now,
tab.
right?
Okay, you talked at the same time. I didn't know what either of you said.
Go ahead, Lil P.
You also use the community tab to
Yep.
do it. So,
Mhm.
so that's good.
Yeah. Commander, what were you saying?
I was just saying this would be about the time you would be going live, right? It's
Yep.
what, 10 o'clock your time?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and like Lil P said, I would use the time, if I'm not streaming, I would use the time to work on other content.
Exhibit A.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Okay, so how many hours per week would you say you dedicate to streaming and content creation?
And that's still quite a bit. Like, and the way that I do it too is I'm fortunate enough with my job, the position right now, that I can go home for lunch and work on it some then, which gives me extra time to do some final edits or to work on thumbnails like separate from work. So that's, I try to take advantage of all the time that I can.
Mhm.
Usually I try to stream for like 3 to 4 hours, at least 3 days a week. And then I started to do a YouTube stream for a couple hours on Saturday to see how that went. So it's probably like around maybe like 20 hours total of free time that's
Mhm.
put to the side. But and I think the big thing is that also doesn't like affect my personal life at all, because we're still doing stuff that we want to, and if something comes up that we're doing then or that we want to do, then we just go do it. I think like my wife would agree with that. the
Yeah.
but I think like that's the big thing. I've never said like, I don't want to do something because I have to stream or be because of this. And it's like if something comes up then and we want to do it, then we're gonna go do it. And I think that's the a big thing as well, because you don't want to push people aside to because that's what this whole thing is about, is that balance. And it's very easy to get sucked in to wanting to stream or to wanting to make like all these videos and edit, and you don't have a lot of time, so you're like, all right, well, whatever time I have, like, forget everybody else. But
Mhm.
then there's still family, friends, relationships. Like, you really don't want that to suffer, or at least I would think you wouldn't. I wouldn't want that to happen. I would never want that. So I think that it's important to set some time aside for the streaming, for the content creation, and then set the other time to go do other things. And I think that's where some people, it's this is a bigger issue now, especially that people can go out and do everything again. It was different back in COVID where you couldn't really go out,
Mm.
and people were locked in, and so it was like, okay, you have more time because that's like the responsible thing to do, not to go out and all that. So now it's completely different, and it's important to like go out. I mean, if that's not your thing, like that's not your thing. But to still, I wouldn't want to push away from family or friends that you actually care about just to try to chase a dream or put all this time and just ignore it. Because I don't think in the end you're going to look back and say, I don't know if that was really fulfilling.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you spend your time doing what you wanted to do, what you want to do, or spend your time doing what other people wanted you to do?
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I have seen a lot of people turn down things, fun things to do, like going out to dinner or going on like a weekend trip or something, because they're like, oh, I have to stream. And I mean, it's their choice, obviously, but yeah, I don't really understand that either, because you do have to have a balance between streaming and the the rest of your life. But I don't know. I feel like people feel like they have to stream because streaming's just like it's a very unique thing where you like have to be there. Like you can't like outsource it, you can't like hire
yeah,
somebody to stream for you. Like you're the one that has to be there. So people feel like they can't give anything else up to stream. I don't know. It's a very like unique concept, I feel like.
it's always been hard to try to like manage your time when it comes to streaming. Like when you're starting out, or even if you're someone who's been doing it for X amount of years, I think you're always gonna come across obstacles that will interfere with streams. But that's okay because it is good to take a step back from streaming, focus on friends, focus on family. But as long as you get back onto it, you can usually pick yourself right back up. You
Yeah.
just gotta stay motivated and show that you're motivated when you're doing it.
Yeah. Yeah, and then I also feel like a lot of people just have this misconception that streaming's just like a lot of fun and it's so easy and it's not any work, and it is so much work, and people kind of like get turned off by that. and then they're like, okay, I don't really like want to stream as much, and then they lose a lot of motivation and discipline because they think that streaming's just like so easy. So I would say I also dedicate like 20 hours per week to streaming and
20
content
seems like a
creation.
good number.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean we all work too, and we all have like other stuff going on in our lives, so we really can't dedicate like that much time to streaming, like cuz we're all adults too, you know, we're not like in school like where you have more time to dedicate to streaming and content creation. So I feel like, you know, as adults, you do have to sacrifice some things in order to do content creation and streaming if you want to take it seriously and you want to, you know, grow your channels, which leads me into my next question. What do you guys feel like you sacrifice in order to make time for streaming and content creation?
Sleep is probably the biggest
Same.
one that I would say that I sacrifice.
That's my
So,
first answer too.
yeah, majority of the time, this is just me personally. I am a night owl. I will stay up till 5, 6 in the morning if I need to, just to work on something or to try something. Like, let's see if I can do this. And if I don't like it, it gets scrapped. And yeah, I may have wasted that time, but I still put in the time and effort to at least try something.
Yeah.
And it does, you never know how it's going to be. But I like that time because everybody's asleep. It's quiet in the household. I think it's much easier for me to work on things at night than it is during the day. The only issue is I can't really be vocal because I have a new baby. I don't want to have the chance of waking him up. So like it's easy for me just to kind of stay quiet and just edit or do something like that in the background.
Yeah.
I would probably agree with the sleep, and it's something I've tried to like end streams earlier and stuff to try to get a bit more. Like it's nothing crazy, but then I guess I still get a decent amount of sleep. It's not the biggest deal, but I would say probably that more so than anything else. And I think it also falls into the whole thing that we kind of mentioned earlier, where it's like people think they have to stream all the time, and it's frustrating when you look at your analytics and it's like I've ended stream when like my graphs would like keep going up. I don't tend to look at my viewer count live as it's going on, but
Hmm.
so usually after stream or the next day I'll look at my graphs and I'm like, man, it's frustrating because it seems like my peak is at the end, so I haven't hit that
Yeah.
plateau yet. So it makes you sort of like next time you stream to keep thinking in your mind, okay, well, the longer I stream, the more people are going to come in, and you just sort of get in that whole mindset. And it's easy to get trapped in that because
Hmm.
that was like the whole strategy before. It's like, and that's what people who do stream a lot try to fight for. It's like, okay, the longer I stream, I'm going to hopefully get raids and do all that. So more eyes on me. So when other people end, and it can be a bad mindset to fall into because you can sacrifice that and other things as well. But it's like, I don't know if like your guys analytics and stuff are the same like that, but it's funny because I just always seem to end like when I have the most viewers. And I'm like, dang, I should have kept going. But at the
Yeah.
same time, I know I don't want to sacrifice my sleep and everything.
Yeah, when I was on Twitch, I would always check my analytics afterwards, and I would notice that too. It seems like that's when I was starting to peak, about 9, 10 o'clock. That's usually when I was going to be ending stream, and I'd see like just the graph just steadily increasing. I'm like, son of a bitch.
Yeah.
Maybe I should. Maybe I started thinking maybe I should do later streams.
Yeah.
But I'm like, I don't know if I want to stay up that late because if I'm up that late streaming, then that cuts into editing and stuff like that. So it's like, well, where do I put this time frame at? So
Yeah. So for me, it's different because I'm on YouTube. So it actually doesn't, you know, YouTube doesn't have, you know, to get to YouTube partner, it doesn't have like a live viewership metric that you need to achieve like on Twitch. So it's actually more important for me as a streamer to grow offline on YouTube because the live views on YouTube, they don't count towards your watch hours. It's only when the stream turns into a VOD and people watch it after. So the streams are more for like discoverability and interacting with people, your community, and new viewers real time. And then I treat it basically like recording a video for YouTube. but it doesn't really like matter. It doesn't really matter what my analytics look like when I'm live on YouTube. It only matters like after the fact.
Now, has YouTube confirmed that? Because that's was so. There's a few things with this which kind of goes separate, but I've been wondering this a lot lately too, especially since I started streaming. Because when you end, it gives you watch time for your total stream session, but like you can't find that in analytics. But I was listening to Think Media. I don't know if you listened to them, but they had a podcast today, and somebody asked the question, does live streams count toward watch hours? And they said it did. You just like can't really see the metric. And it's like it's there, but it's not just like straight, just like here's your watch time towards it. And I don't know if that's just an issue with like Twitch live stats, or I really don't know. Like, because I was thinking like, okay, well that helps, because a lot of the places will say live streaming is the best way to get your watch hours up on YouTube. And then it was like, okay, well, it tells you watch hours, but then you like can't see that again after you close out of your stream. But they were there at some point. So then I was like, maybe they don't count. But then now they're saying that it does. I don't know. It's just super confusing.
Maybe they can't decide and they just flip flop it throughout the day too. It's like, sure, these count. They don't count anymore. You know what? Let's make them count again.
You know what? They could, because I remember a lot of people trying to get an answer to this question a while back, and YouTube wasn't really giving a clear answer. But as far as I know, the watch hours, and they might have changed it. I'll look into it again. But as far as I know, the watch hours only count after the stream ends. Because I mean, I've been streaming on YouTube for like a year and a half now, so I have a lot of streams up. But I feel like, I mean, I haven't calculated the amount of watch hours I would have, but I feel like I would have hit the 4,000 by now if all of the hours are counted by the people that came in when it was live. Because I'm only at like just over 2,000 hours now, but I've had a lot of live streams.
That's true.
And the views still stay, which is weird.
Yeah.
Because they'll stay after the stream is over, but if you look at the analytics, it'll say 0 views.
Yeah, it only counts from the time it ends. Yeah.
That if it does count, YouTube needs to kind of fix that. But
they need to just make a confirmation, just say it out there on Twitter, or just tell you on your channel, yes, these views count, this time counts.
I know they need,
this does not count.
I know they need a clear answer. Count. They are still pretty new to live streaming though, so I feel like, I don't know, maybe they're still kind of figuring it out. But
things could change.
Yeah, and they change things a lot. So I haven't looked into it ever since I heard that no, the watch hours don't count while you're live. But I'll look into it again after this, and maybe YouTube has finally given a more specific answer. Okay, so that's another topic entirely, though. What were we talking about? Okay, so my next question is, how do you streamline things in your life to make more time for either yourself or streaming and content creation?
I would say, like I said with me, for the extra time, it's like using my lunch breaks at work to work on it, because I work 5 days a week, so you get an hour lunch. So it's like an extra hour or so each day that I can put towards it, which can
So do you always go home for lunch to work on content creation?
Mostly. Sometimes not. It depends on what's going on. But then there's also, it's the better you get with like the editing programs and whatnot, the quicker you're going to be able to edit stuff. Like I use DaVinci Resolve for my long form videos, and it has a pretty steep learning curve. But then once you learn it and you kind of get into routines, it makes it a lot easier. And because sometimes you can spend like 30 minutes looking for an answer for something. Like, I was gonna green screen me over on top of a video to commentate after the fact. Well, it took me like 30 minutes to find the video, figure out how it is, figure out how to do it, and then implement it so that way I knew for the future. But now that I know it, that's going to be a lot faster if I do the same thing. And it's just finding those ways to use. As you get more familiar with everything, it'll speed up. And just like, so that's kind of how it would streamline, because then you can prepare more in advance, and that way you can spend more time with other stuff. Like I had mentioned earlier, we spent the past few Sundays, normally when I would stream or work on stuff or whatever, we went out over to a friend's house to watch the football games. And but also, like, the week prior, I already built up like 4 or 5 shorts, TikToks that I can put out. I have a couple like long form videos done, just about done to be scheduled out. So the quicker you get at it, the more you can like build a backlog of stuff, and
Mhm.
that can allow for more, leeway to do other things.
Yeah. Batch content, as the experts
Yeah,
say.
there you go. That's a good word.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that is the term that like the big YouTubers and content creators use, is batch content. So I've done that too. So when I go on vacation, I'll save up a bunch of shorts because those are really just quick and easy to post. And so, and also, like, you tend to have a lot of them because they're shorts. So you tend to have a lot of them through a live stream. And so I'll save up a whole bunch of them. Like, I'm going on vacation next week, so I have a whole bunch of shorts that I just saved up like specifically so I can post them on vacation, because I won't be doing any streams there. And then I also think that, like, I mean, I agree with you, Lil P. Like, once you get better and better at editing or doing whatever content creation you're doing, it'll go faster. You'll have more time, not just with the technical stuff, but just like learning what you want out of content creation. Because at least for me, like, I didn't have a plan when I started content creation. Like, I was just streaming random games and I had no other plans to do any other kind of content. Definitely had no plans to do this podcast, but once you start figuring out what you want, you can start putting a plan in place, and that will save you time. Like, you already know what you want to do. Like, for this podcast, I have the topic, I have the guests, I have the list of questions written down, I have everything set up ahead of time. So I'm not like scrambling at the last minute and taking up time to figure out, like, what is it that I want to do.
That's like with everything. The more you do it, the better you're gonna get at it.
Yeah.
Theoretically.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and the more planning you do will help too.
Yeah, that's the big thing. Like, I know Frost does the same thing, and it's kind of big, is using our live streams as like a funnel for other content.
Mm-hmm.
Like last week, I plan on doing ghost guides and phasmophobia, which is the main thing. So what I did on stream was I would go in and pick a certain ghost, whatever ghost type we had that game, record everything. So now I have like already 10 videos I can make out of the footage that I recorded while live streaming. And that's part of pre-planning. Like, okay, I'm going to use this time to record for this stuff, still be entertaining, informative, everything while you're doing it, and then you can quickly use that for other stuff as well. You can go to long form, like go to shorts, TikToks, send out so more people can discover you and help you that way. And I know Frost does a lot of that as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. I do quite a bit. I'll take like for example, I've been doing a series called it doesn't matter, but it's 7 Days to Die series. Anyway, basically what I do is like I'll do like every day of that series. I just chop that down into a video and I upload that. So that's one video, and I'll stream for about 3 to 4 hours. That's 3 to 4 days. So that's 3 to 4 videos right there.
Yeah. So do you guys ever get stressed out or overwhelmed with trying to make time or balance the rest of your life with streaming and content creation?
Yeah.
Yeah. How do you deal with that?
Well, I'm a guy, so I keep it all bottled up and just,
Oh, okay.
smile through the pain, grit my teeth.
It's like, it's tough because sometimes it feels like I don't really have time to rest, because as part of the whole schedule thing, I mean, there's time to rest, but I feel like, I'm on like a rigid schedule almost sometimes.
Yeah.
And it's self-imposed and on me, but like I also try to take time away, go out of town, just do something. But then it's like, okay, well, I know like either I'm gonna be here working on stuff, or we're gonna go out, hang out with friends, or go and be with family or to do something, and it's like, all right, I'm always doing something. I'm not just like taking time to just like relax and do other stuff.
Mhm.
But I think like it's fine now. I think at some point it's just gonna like come crashing down. But like I don't know, because I'm like heavily invested into everything and like trying to get better. And it's nice when you're like seeing results, and it sort of helps you get going, and helps keep you going, because you're like, all right, people really enjoying my content. They're really, loving this stuff. And that sort of helps keep you going. Like, all right, I'm ready to make it. There's bad days where you might have like a stream and nobody shows up, or you felt like you weren't as jovial or talkative like you could have been, or maybe you're like, man, I really don't know how good this video is going to be, but I'm just going to send it out and stuff like that. So like it definitely feels like I'm constantly almost on the go,
Mm.
but it doesn't like it hasn't affected me yet. But because we also do take time to do other stuff, or if I need to just like take a night off from streaming, I'll say, look, I'm not going to stream tonight, and just take time for myself and do other stuff. So
And it's very important to take that time. If you don't, you'll go crazy. You'll
Yeah.
want to spend that time with friends and family, or just to take a break from the computer screen. Because let's be honest, we stare at the screen probably more than anything else.
Mhm.
So it's good just to kind of take away and be like that. There's moments where I'm excited to go to work just because it's like, it's not pixels, it's all real.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't even get that break at work because I work in IT,
Oh
so I'm
well.
still staring at a screen.
So then, in that case, it's just nice for you just to just not be anywhere
Yeah.
near a screen at all.
Stare at another screen, different type of screen.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um yeah, so I agree. I feel like it sounds really obvious when we say, like, you need to take time for yourself, you need to do self-care, you need to take a break. And I see a lot of people saying this too, like on Twitter and over YouTube and like everywhere. People are telling other people, like, okay, you got to take a break, like you have to take care of yourself. But you would be surprised at how many people just like don't do that. Like, it sounds very obvious, but a lot of people do not do this. So just to emphasize, this is very, very, very important, because you will go crazy. And like, I mean, there's been days where like I've just like felt really, really frustrated, broken down, cried, like had bad streams, cried, like, but I mean, nobody sees it because it's like offline.
Yeah, it's
But
offline.
yeah,
It's your
but
time.
it's, yeah. So nobody like really sees the part where you're like really like broken down mentally. But that will happen if you don't take your breaks. So PSA, after school special, take your breaks, please.
Take a mental health break if you need to as well. Anytime you
Yeah.
need to, it's good to take those. Even if it's an example, I literally just got back from a hiatus from streaming for a while. I took a little of a hiatus because I needed it, because I just felt like I was just doing it every day, or I was just looking at the screen all the time, and I'm like, I need a break. So there was just a time where I'm just like, I'm not even gonna go near my computer.
Yeah.
I just sat on the bed and hung out with friends and family, or I just watched anime, stuff
Yeah.
like that. I'm just taking a break.
You know what? I've been
Come back
wondering
to
where you've
this.
been.
I needed the break.
Yeah.
I talked to
I
P a little
understand.
bit about this the other day during one of my streams. He was asking me how I was doing about this, how I felt it was podcast, and I told him, and it helped out a lot having him there help me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you, little P.
yeah, because it is important to take the break. And I think it's important for you to kind of have the self-reflection on that, because like I said, like I don't feel like I need a break. Like I feel good, I'm happy with like what I'm doing, I'm having a great time. Some people might look at that and say, maybe you are doing a bit too much and should scale it back. It's like, but not affecting anything and I'm fine. But if it ever got to the point to where I was like, man, I'm feeling like really pressured and all this, but I got to keep going, because otherwise people are going to be expecting stuff. People are going to be, wanting me to be there, or you're just putting that undue pressure on yourself, where it's like the people who watch you and support you, a lot of them do care about you and they want to see what's best for you. I've never stopped watching a streamer, or anybody's videos or anything because they needed to take a break for themselves because they were not going through a good time and they just needed the time away. And I think that if somebody needs that, that is a streamer, just you gotta do it and take it for yourself because otherwise your content is going to suffer.
Mm.
But if you're not at that point, you're like, look, I'm fine, and then yeah, so be it. Don't let anybody else tell you what to do or how to feel. But I think it's important to know if you're feeling overwhelmed or you're losing sleep over this and it's affecting stuff in your real life. Like, even if this is your full-time job, like your real job is 40 hours a week usually. Give or take 80 hours every couple weeks, whatever it is.
Yeah.
There's still that other time away to do other stuff. So it's a rougher world in content creation if you're doing it full time, but it's still important to have that time away. And it's kind of funny because it's like, they're trying to prioritize in the world in general. All right, I'm gonna go to somebody else. My dog's just barking.
Okay.
All right.
We something I want to add to this really quick is
Okay.
there's actually a joke or just basically talking smack to people do on games all the time. Like that person never touches grass.
Yeah.
It's like because it's a good thing. You need to go out and touch grass.
Yeah.
You can't just sit behind your screen all week, every day. Yeah, you might get really good at the game or whatever it is you're trying to do, but you're missing out on so much that's out there, whether it be friends or just life in general. Anyway, so just
Yeah.
even if you need an hour, just take a step out, go shower.
Yes. Showering's important. Personal
Yes.
hygiene. So have you guys ever felt like you wanted to give up on streaming or
Yes.
content creation? Yeah.
Hands down. Absolutely.
And
Like it's kind of funny because technically I mean I kind of like gave up a long time ago in a way because like when I was in high school in like my senior year or like in my freshman year of college and stuff, I would be posting like YouTube videos. I was doing like Pokemon challenges and stuff like that. And then I just stopped and then I got back into it then a few
Mhm.
years ago. But I think like one of the big things is just like changing focus, which is like what I've been dealing with more this year is like I'm wanting to put more time into my YouTube channel. And maybe step back from streaming as much because I didn't think it would benefit me as much to also have other stuff and create that whole little ecosystem where you're live streaming and you're using that to make videos that you can then turn into shorts and TikToks to make other stuff because I feel like that's where more of my time is better spent than just nonstop streaming. And I mean, like, I think the good thing is that I'm seeing the results pay off,
Mhm.
which is helpful. But in a way, is it like, well, did I not think my Twitch stream was good enough? So I wanted to do all this stuff to try to make it better. And I would say like that was more so in a way to where it felt like growth was just stagnant. And I think doing other stuff could help that. And also learning like all these new skills with it is pretty great too. Like learning, Photoshop and video editing and all this other stuff that goes with it can be beneficial to other stuff in the future because you're learning more things.
Yeah.
It's not a bad thing to learn more skills.
No. No, it's not. So speaking of, how much time do you guys dedicate each week to learning things like that? Like learning the algorithms of YouTube or learning Photoshop, learning how to edit videos, thumbnails, titles, all of that stuff.
Well, for an example, today we are just talking about how we were gonna have what you guys use for your own.
Yeah, we were talking about that.
thumbnails.
Yeah.
And while I was sitting here at the computer, you guys are giving me examples of what you guys use. And I'm like, well, I'm already here, so I just use that time right there. And I was just waiting for this, so I used that time to work on. I just grabbed an image and just played around with the Pixlr and Photopea. I haven't messed with Photopea a whole lot yet, but I was enjoying it.
Yeah.
Because up until that time, I've just been using my phone to edit videos this whole time. And I've been doing this for a year or so, making thumbnails. And Lippy's like, I don't know how you did this with the phone. I'm like, it's what I started with. It's what I had. So
So do you make
You
it a
have a good
point?
computer.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
I didn't though when I first started though, so it was just sort of like I don't know. And then the only reason I'm really switching now is because I'm noticing that my memory on my phone is getting full of all these pictures that I've been saving. Like I don't want to delete them because I might use them later for something else too. So they've just been piling
So
up.
do you make it a point though to be learning new things every week, or were you just learning stuff because me and Lil P were sending you thumbnail videos?
I think it's important to try to learn at least a few, 1 to 2 things a week at least. Like when if you come to editing and stuff, like there's still a few things I need to learn, like when it comes to editing. And I'm still learning them as we go on. I'll probably do more once we're done here. But I would say I spend a good amount of time trying to learn something new, whether it's for a thumbnail or if it's for a video. Or I don't ever really look at the YouTube stuff like Rebecca does. She's way more into that than I am. But I don't know. That's just what I focus on.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say I do a lot, and it's more so like listening to things. Like since you told me about the Tube Talk podcast, I've listened to a bunch of those episodes, and
Yeah.
that's it's just like from driving to and from work or whatever, or putting stuff on like during the day while I'm working on things, just to sort of have it on and listen to things. And I'll watch a lot of channels, and I did the same thing with streams. Like when I started streaming, I watched videos on how to set up your mic, how to set things up in general with like OBS, and what are some other tricks you can do on stream, and how do you just general tips for streaming, how to engage chat, how to keep talking when nobody's talking, how to do all that stuff. And I kept on, I would always want to learn tips, because I think that that's one of the big things with me is I'm always trying to learn, because you're never going to know everything. But if you learn more and more, like it helps out in the end. And so I put a lot of other time to, it's more like just while I'm doing other things, like listening to podcast or having a YouTube video on, just listening, whether it be on thumbnail strategies, title strategies, streaming tips, how to better engage stuff on stream, or to keep talking. Always just having tips and tricks on, like that's what I just do, because you never know what you're going to pick up. And it could be like just one thing here or there. Like it could be 40-minute podcast, but if there was one thing that you gleamed out of it that you were like, hey, I did not know that, or that's an interesting strategy, I never thought about that, and then that's worth it, because that's one more thing that you can stick in your cap, and
you learn something new just from that 40-minute video. Take it.
Yeah. And that's the whole thing. But it's also like while you're doing other things, because it's like, if I did that, I'm not going to have the time to stream or make videos, because I'll be like, oh, hey, I'm going to learn this or do this. Unless it's like a editing technique that I needed to learn for a video, then, I'll look at that in general. But I would say, just about every day I'm listening to some podcast or something on YouTube's tips or streaming tips, or, trends in content creation and all that stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, me too. I'm always watching videos on like the algorithm and thumbnails and titles and how to edit pictures and thumbnails and how to edit videos, and even like what do you do on camera for YouTube videos. Like, I heard a tip on the Tube Talk podcast that you have to hook a viewer within the first 5 seconds of your video, which I was like, okay, that's crazy. Like, how am I going to hook people in the first 5 seconds? But yeah, I always want to learn things too. And to like relate it back to this topic of like, how do you balance your life with streaming? I think you need to take out that time to learn these new things if you want your channel to grow, because I see a lot of people who are just like streaming and streaming and streaming, and they don't take the time to do other content or even learn about other content. And so like out of the 20 hours I spend per week on streaming and content creation, like not all of that is streaming. Probably like 10 hours of that is streaming. So half of that time is streaming, and then the other half is like learning things and doing the podcast. And then like even with the podcast, it's not just, I don't really edit these videos, but it still takes a lot of time, because it's not just recording it and then I put it up on YouTube and Spotify and like I'm done. Like I have to go get everybody's links. I have to write a description. I got to do a thumbnail. I have to upload it on YouTube. I have to upload it on Spotify. I have to do like slightly different descriptions on Spotify. Then Spotify has a different format in their description. Like, so it takes me maybe like 2 to 3 hours for like one podcast episode. And then also it's like me that comes up with the ideas and all the questions. And then it's me like, picking out the guests, coordinating times with them. And so like it's a lot more than
A lot of
just
work
like
that goes on behind the scenes.
yeah,
that the
yeah.
viewer does not see that you put into it.
Yeah. Yeah. And so just to like relate it back to this topic, like you need to take the time out of that. Like you need to take some time out of streaming. If you're like saying, okay, I do 20 hours a week to streaming and content creation, and all of those hours are dedicated to streaming, like you don't have to, it's your life, but I would like suggest that you take out some of that time, maybe start with just like a few hours, but take out some of those times to work on other content and just learn stuff. Like I will take a few hours just to like literally just to watch like YouTube videos on like, how do I make better thumbnails? How do I make better titles? What is the algorithm doing? I don't know, like whatever's trending on what's in content creation right now, or even in anything else. Like what's going on with the platforms? What did Twitch announce today? What did YouTube announce today? Like whatever, like just keep up with other things in content creation. Streaming will just like take over your life if all you do is stream. It will take over your life like very quickly.
Yeah.
Okay, so I want to bring something up that I want to see what you guys think of this. So I've heard a lot that the very top content creators right now, like the like Mr. Beast, like the Tim the Tap Man's, like all those guys, like Dr. Disrespect, all those guys,
top
of the top content creators, streamers. I've always heard that the like greatest content creation creators, they are obsessed with content creation. Like they literally have like this insane obsession with like making the best streams, like making the best videos. Like they're always thinking about it. Like every second of their day, they're like on their phone, like researching stuff, like whatever is going on in content creation, like doing videos, constantly thinking about what do I do for my next video? What do people want to see? What do you think of this idea? Do you think that people need to be like obsessed with the content creation to be like at that level?
I don't think you need to necessarily be obsessed with it, but I would be wrong in saying that there's not times where like I'll be at work and all I can think about is I want to get home and do this idea before it leaves my brain. Because once it's gone, it might take me another day or so before it comes back. That's just me personally, but I feel like there are times where I'm just constantly thinking of ideas that I want to do.
Yeah.
Like I know Lil P had this conversation and I had this conversation earlier where we each have ideas that we want to do, and it's just finding the time to actually do those too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like to be that obsessed. I mean, like I'm not like that crazy, but I mean, it's
Yeah.
like it's the same, like we talked about. Like I want to listen to a podcast or something about content creation, like on the way to and from work, or if there's any free time that I have as well, or if I'm editing something, I might have something else on to listen to or whatnot. And I think it all depends on what your goal is as well. Like if your goal is to grow, you definitely want to learn the platforms, learn what the trends are, learn what the best practices are to do, because otherwise you might just be wasting your time. And I think and it just all boils down to like, what are your goals? And if you are just a small streamer and you're just like streaming 12 hours a day during your free time or whatever, like I mean it might work for you. If that's what you want to do it. Is it going to help you grow or to get to that full-time spot? Like probably not. And I think because like you said, and you probably kept up with the trends too, like live streaming is also, especially on Twitch and stuff, seems to be like going down. Like everybody says their viewers are down, their revenue is down. And is that from people that don't have as much time to spend there watching a live stream, but they want to watch a long form video in their free time that's edited? Or do they just have a little bit of time and they want to watch a TikTok or a YouTube short? And I think it's like one of the things that I think is important is that people don't just like use the other stuff to like advertise their stuff, because it will come and go like eventually. Because I think that's the biggest mistake is like people will have on their TikToks and stuff like follow me on Twitch, like do this other stuff. And I was guilty of it too. Like that was my whole thing was, hey, I'm going to make YouTube shorts and TikToks and I'm going to have like follow me on Twitch, or I'm going to have my Twitch logo on there. And it's like, but those people in that moment, they don't want to watch your live stream, more than likely not. They don't want to watch your long form, which is what I think a lot of people on YouTube make the mistake of, is I want to push them to my long form. I don't want to do shorts, but it's like it can happen. And I think the crazy thing about that, which is kind of going like separate on everything, but it's like I had a short that I never seen this person. It had to do with like speaking, professional speaking. I don't know, maybe it helped me. Maybe I sound more professional now because of it. And they're like, here you go, we're gonna shove this to you. But I never seen the person. I watched like a short. I liked it, whatever. I ended up seeing his long form videos. I never watched it because I don't really care about that content. I thought it was like an interesting short for like tips on how to sound like more professional, how to speak better, that type stuff. I didn't watch the long form, but it was seems to be working that YouTube is using shorts to push your long forms, because this person came in my homepage, never
Yeah.
watched his long form, never heard of the guy other than the short. And it was, you know, I don't know if they tried to advertise their long form with it in the video. Probably not. They were like a huge creator anyway, so it really didn't matter. But I think that's where like a lot of people, they're like, I'm just going to use this to push people to my Twitch or to other stuff, instead of actually taking the time to like make something that fits what that platform is. And then maybe you can grow better that way. But that's all about like how you make your time, because I don't think in this day and age just doing one thing you're going to really see the best results. And like with all of us, we're not just like doing one form of video, you know, we're not just live streaming, we're not just making TikToks, we're not just doing a long form video, we're doing everything in hopes that it puts more eyes on the channel, and then maybe people will come. And it's been success, I mean, you know, relatively successful to me. I've had people on when I stream on Twitch, I was like, hey, I saw your TikTok. I had people show up in my live stream on YouTube that was like, hey, I watched your short, or I really appreciate the advice. I had a guy who followed me on Twitch that was from YouTube, and I don't advertise that, hey, I stream on Twitch or I do other stuff. Like I may have done it once, like on TikTok when they had like the Pokemon event, and I was going to help people with the raid. So I was like, hey, here's a good Pokemon to use, but if you guys need help, I'll be live streaming tonight. That was after a set amount of videos where I never said anything like that. So it's not like shoving it in their face. And that's just the whole thing. But it's taking your time to where I've gotten other followers and people actually chatting from other stuff. It's not just from live stream. And I think like that's the future in content creation, that I don't think a lot of people that streaming want to hear it. But if you're not trying to grow, by all means, just stream and play what you want and do all that. But if you're looking to grow, use that other time that you have to put for other stuff, because that's going to be way better off for you in the future.
Yeah, and I think that people are discovering that live streaming takes so much of your time. I mean, like an average live stream is 4 hours long. So that's 4 hours you have to be there. Like even if you're not on camera, you have to like be talking. So that's 4 hours of your day. You have to be there in one place. Like that's a lot of time in your day. And people burn out left and right just trying to stream that much. They don't have the time. Like they don't have time to go like spend with their family, their friends, travel, do the fun things on the weekends, like do whatever they want to do. And I think that might be why streaming is kind of going downhill. Like people are starting to look at other ways to make more time for themselves. Like all those big YouTube or Twitch streamers that went to YouTube last year, like Tim the Tatman, Ludwig, Saikuno, Lily, Pichu, like all those guys, like they all said that they wanted more time because trying to stream on Twitch, like their contracts had some crazy amount of stream hours they had to do. And they all wanted like more time in their life to like work on other projects and other content or just like spend it with, you know, the people that they cared about, or they want to go travel, or they just like wanted more time. And I think that one of the reasons I love YouTube so much is that I think it gives me more time. Like even if Twitch was like a great if I thought Twitch was like a great company and like a great platform, I still don't really like the nature of the platform, because if you are not live, like your channel is just irrelevant. Like your channel is just nobody's going to see your channel. But I like that on YouTube, like people can discover my channel at any time. So I have more time. Like I can just post something and leave and go live my best life, and it can still grow and people can still discover me. And that gives me more time back in my life. And then I can use that time to like go learn more things and reinvest in my content, or go like travel, or I don't know, do whatever it is that I want to do with life.
Yeah. I would say you've done excellent when it came to that side.
Oh, thank you.
It's good that you're able to just make a video and just kind of take a step back and focus on your life outside of YouTube, and then come back and back. You basically it's a door that you can step in and step out of.
Yeah,
that's a good thing about YouTube.
Yeah, and if
We're not talking about the good things about YouTube.
Hey, listen, we are always talking about the good things about YouTube. And I can look at my analytics on YouTube and everything just like goes up. Like every day I can watch my hours and my subscribers just like go up. And on Twitch, like if I'm not live, my analytics like don't matter at all.
Yeah,
so
they don't change.
Yeah, so if I go on vacation and I can't stream for like a week on Twitch, that's like a week I've lost in growth on Twitch. But it's not a week I've lost in growth on YouTube. So
because you still have content there that could still be pushed out from YouTube itself. That's going to help bring attention to your channel.
Yeah, like I still have a totally random stream from when I was playing Disney Dreamlight Valley. For some reason, this one stream keeps getting views. I have no idea why.
Don't argue with it.
I'm not arguing. I'm just saying I don't know why. But this stream was 4 months ago, and it has like 700 something views. And then, you know, like
awesome.
Lil P said, like it starts at 0. When you end the stream on YouTube, it starts at 0. But it's only this one stream though. I don't know why it's just this one stream that continues to get views and like no other streams really do. But for some reason, people want to see this stream. So it's like 4 months later, I'm still growing out of that stream. Like that could never happen on Twitch. It just doesn't work that way on Twitch, because Twitch only has that live viewership metric, and that's all like people really look at. It's like how many people did I get in my stream? But on YouTube, it's like a whole bunch of other things. Okay, so thanks for coming to my TED Talk. Anyway, so so I got another question for you guys. So do you feel like you have anything in your life right now that gives you an advantage when it comes to time, other than like, you know, the people in your life that support you, you know, your wives and your family, that gives you more time? So for instance, like I work from home, and I feel like that gives me a really big advantage because I don't have a commute. So that time is just given back to me. My computer, like my PC that I use for streaming and content creation, it's like right there. So if I ever have downtime at work or on my lunch break, like I don't even need to commute back home for a lunch break. I can just go on my computer, and then I can just do other things while I'm working from home. I can do the dishes. I can do the laundry. I can spend time with my dog. Like it just gives me more time back. And I feel like that's a really big advantage that I don't feel like I could do content creation or streaming if I did not work from home.
I would argue that I bet you could, because
really
you've got talent and it shows.
I'm getting embarrassed now.
I'm the greatest. But I mean, so my example for me, I only work weekends. I work Friday through Sundays. So during that Monday through Thursday time, I got that time to spend with my kids. But when they're at school, that's my time to edit or rest. If I stayed up all night editing, then I can rest during that time while they're at school and stuff like that. But when they're back at home, it's good to set schedule time for that streams or for the editing content then. But it just varies. Every day is going to be different for me. So I don't know. That's
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say, like I said earlier, I could spend my lunch breaks doing it. I have enough. I can listen to stuff while I work, uh, so I can still be like learning things here and there. I'd say probably the biggest advantage I have over Frost is I don't have any children yet, so that's that's a good thing. But
now hang on, we've got kids, but you have more animals than I do, so I would say, and
Wait,
those are just as.
you have more animals? How many do you have?
He's got 3 now, right?
yeah, I
Three,
got
because you have
three.
2
I
dogs
got
and a cat.
2 dogs and a cat.
me
And the
count.
cat are basically like small kids because they're German Shepherd and a Shepherd Retriever mix. I think you saw the Shepherd Retriever mix earlier.
Mhm.
You look back, but yeah, I think those are the big advantages. And it is an office job, so yeah, it's I can listen to things and not be a huge deal. I'd say, like, other than that, like, I think just like Frost said, like, if you wanted it bad enough, even if you had to commute, you would spend time to do it, because that's seems to be like the way that you are. You'd spend time for what you want to make and improve at, and I think it's the same with everybody. If this is something that you're interested in, then you make time for it,
Yeah.
and that's
You would find time.
yeah, like you would, and you may have to make more sacrifices than other things, but still, it's all about finding that the right balance and setting that time aside. But I would say, like, those are the big things, and yes, for some people, it's really hard, and
Everyone's
I
different.
think, yeah, I think, like, if you were wanting to live stream and you're one of those people who has a family, or and you have long commutes from work, you have all this other stuff, it's like, take a step back and just think, like, do I really have a time for this, or maybe should I focus on, like, doing YouTube VOD content, or just do shorts or TikToks or something? Because you can still do gaming shorts and TikToks, and it's less stuff, and you can still, and you can monetize on both TikTok and YouTube if you build up the following. So it's like, I think that you have to be realistic with the time that you have and the goals that you want. Like, if your goal is to grow and you don't have a lot of time to live stream, you might be better off spending that time editing videos or recording stuff to edit down, or other things. And because I think everybody thinks, like, I'd want to play video games. I want people to watch me, and then I want people to give me money for it.
Mhm.
And it's like, that would be great, but I think some people just don't realize, like, how much goes into streaming as well. And even if you're not about YouTube at all and you just live stream, you're still going to spend that time, like, hopefully at least making clips and other stuff that you can spread around. But even if you're just like, no, I just want to do Twitch, I don't want to do TikTok, I don't want to do YouTube shorts, I just want to live stream, you're still going to spend that time to add stuff to your stream, whether it be sound alerts or channel points that trigger things, or just other stuff. There'd
Voice
be
mods are fun.
overlays, emotes, yeah, like,
Yeah.
just, you're going to spend that time to learn that. And also, as well, how do you become a better streamer if you're going to be serious about it? And it's about how you spend that time. And I think that in making the time to do it is the biggest thing, I think. And just like what the whole podcast is about, don't let that take away time from your family and friends, because I think it would be remiss if you didn't follow what the big content creators were doing. They're like, well, I want to make time for myself and my family because streaming just taking up so much time. And then you also got to look at it. Okay, let's say for some reason you make it big. You stream 12 hours a day. You got rated. People stayed, and suddenly you have like a big following. And you're a partner, but all you did was like stream 12 to 16 hours a day. Okay, cool. You got a lot of money now. Maybe. Was it worth it? Like, if you like push your friends, family, relationships, and whatever away, would you say in the end, like that was the life that you wanted? And I think that was something that you said earlier, Frost, as well.
Yeah.
And it's like that, just like, you know, you got to take the time to think like, okay, maybe the whole goal is to be full-time content creation, which that's not even like my goal at all. It's something I really enjoy doing and learning. And if I can spread love and knowledge on a game that I love, then like that's great. But it's like, even if you wanted to be full time, what did it take to get there? And did you push everybody away to where it would really be worth it? And that's the question that you got to ask, you know, yourself in the end to find that balance. Because if I pushed everybody away and then it was just me, I'd be like, this is not worth it.
No, it'd be way too lonely. Lonely at the top.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so when Ludwig was doing a video about like, oh, did I regret going to YouTube? And spoiler alert, he did not. But he was saying like, oh, you know, it's so great being on YouTube because now I don't have to miss like, you know, anniversaries with my girlfriend. I don't have to miss my friends' birthdays. I can see my family. I can like take trips and I can travel. And it's like if somebody at Ludwig's level, one of the top content creators and streamers, if somebody at his level is missing life, like what does that mean for us, you know? Like if the top of the top has to make the sacrifices to like he's missing his girlfriend's anniversary, he's missing like birthdays, he's missing like all the, you know, all the fun stuff in life.
Yeah, this is fun, but there are plenty of other things out there that are still
Yeah.
way more fun than this. Don't get me wrong. Like spending time with your friends and family is very important. And that's the biggest takeaway you can take from this podcast is take that time that you have and spend it with friends and family because they're not always going to be there.
Yeah.
You could push them away and you don't want to do that.
Yeah. Yeah. And when I see people turning things down to stream, like turning things down that their you know, family and friends invited them to, it just like breaks my heart. I'm like, but why? Like it's just a stream. Like you can always stream later.
Yeah. Do a late stream
Yeah.
earlier.
Yeah.
Especially if it's not your job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know? Like if it is, at least it's more understandable because that is your income. But if you're just like a small streamer trying to, you know, grow and you're missing out on things, I like, you know, I guess it just depends if you're okay with that and if that's like what you want. But if it's going to push people away, like this, you know, we love doing this and we love taking time to do it. And, you know, it may seem like we're spending a lot of time on this stuff, but all of us spend time doing other stuff as well. You know, we don't let it consume us. We're not like 24/7 on online and doing all that. And I think like that's the biggest takeaway because you know, I don't like if I see like I just feel sorry for some people who just like stream all the time and you're like what are you doing? And then if they're doing nothing else to try to go, but they're like, yo, I want to do this full time. And it's like, you got to like really like research what it is that you're doing. Because if you're putting all your eggs in one basket, that's just wrong in general, you know, I think for future success, but
Yeah.
that's for them to research and decide on their own.
Yeah. A lot of misconceptions out there about streaming and content creation because Harris Heller said this in one of his videos. He said, most people don't want to be content creators. They want to be paid to play video games. Like you're not going to get paid full time just for saying hi to anyone and anybody that just like pops into your chat and being nice to them. Like the job is content creator. Like you have to create content. Like just saying hi to anyone that comes into your chat and bringing positive chill vibes like doesn't make content, you know, like the content is the stuff you see on YouTube and TikTok and you know Twitch is a lot of like there's really good content on Twitch, but there's also a very low barrier to entry on Twitch as well. So a lot of people put out very like low effort, low quality content there.
And
all right.
That put in the low effort don't get any growth at all.
Yeah.
And then get mad.
Yeah. And then And it's not just Twitch either exclusively. There's people on Trovo,
Mhm.
YouTube. It's you got to put in the work no matter where, no matter what platform you're on.
Yeah.
Facebook is another example.
Yeah.
And just do the research. Like
Yes.
if you are looking to grow, there are so many advice channels out there. You may think like they're all for money. They just want to take money from you. They just want to like, they're wrong. It's like just take the time to listen to some of them and see, okay, what do I want to take away? What do I not want to take away? And I'm doing that all the time. And I think like that's important for anybody looking to grow. Like look at what other people who have grown and what they say. And then if it's stuff like I don't think that fits me or whatever, like that's fine. But if you're just naive and like, well, this person grew, 20,000 followers or a million YouTube subs or whatever, and you're like, their advice is worthless. It's like, well, some of it might not be the best, but
Yeah.
if they're gonna,
They did something right.
Right.
yeah, there's stuff out there for you to learn how to grow. Like, so take that away and use that time with what they said, with whatever time that you have. So
Yeah, and it's not getting lucky with the algorithm, or the algorithm only favors big content creators, because how did the big content creators even get there in the first place? Like, it's not the algorithm. The algorithm doesn't judge. It just looks at, what do people want to see? Like, what are people interested in? That's all it does. So there's no like getting lucky with the algorithm. There's no like the algorithm hates you. That doesn't exist. That's not a thing. It's a computer. It doesn't hate you.
no, the luck is putting the work in, and then enough people, maybe the algorithm puts your video out a little bit more for one reason or another. We don't have to go into growth strategies and all that, but it's like, but if you have that backlog of stuff where you were working hard and your video is in the algorithm, you're going to have that other stuff there. Or just like, with anything, whether it comes to shorts or TikTok or anything, if you have that backlog of stuff, people might like you enough and click on things and to look at your backlog. And that may be the algorithm side to push your video, but you have all that other stuff there. And that's from you learning and getting better and learning all these skills and putting everything out there. And yeah, so
Yeah.
that's what I think is the way everybody should be doing it if you're looking to grow and not just constantly stream. I think we all
Yep.
agree on that.
Yep. It could be a whole nother episode.
Yeah.
All right. So I am done with my topics and questions. Lil P or Commander Frost, do you have anything else you want to bring up?
I have nothing to add for this. I think it went well. I think we got our points across. Thank you, everybody, for listening.
All right. So I do want to give you guys a chance to plug yourselves, plug your streams, your channels, all of that stuff. What are you streaming right now? When do you usually stream? Anything you want to plug? Go for it. Commander Frost, you go first.
I'm just now coming back from my hiatus, so I've been recently streaming some 7 Days to Die, and potentially some Stardew Valley here soon with
Ooh.
Papa Gamer. So that'll be coming up sometime this week or next, probably this week. And we usually go, I think he said between 3 and 5 o'clock is when he's going to be doing Stardew Valley stuff. So
Is that Eastern
Standard
time? Okay.
Yeah, Eastern time.
All right, Lil P.
All right, yeah. So I stream primarily on Twitch, which Rebecca can say she hates Twitch, but she had a lot of Twitch streamers on recently, so I kind of question that some. But yeah, usually Twitch streams are Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday nights around 7 p.m. Eastern time. I have started a YouTube stream on Saturday afternoons around noon for a little bit. I mainly stream Pokemon and Phasmo on Twitch, and then Phasmophobia content. If you love horror games, investigating stuff, check it out. I have a million guides that will hopefully help you out. And feel free to check it out if you like that stuff.
Awesome. Okay, well, thank you guys so much for being here with me today. Another great episode. Thank you so much again. I know everybody's time is valuable. I hate asking my friends like for their time, because we just talked about it. We just talked about how we're all like super busy and we all have lives outside of this. So thank you so much for making the time. Guys, thank you so much for listening. Please leave us a comment with what you thought and any other podcast topics you'd like us to talk about. I'll probably have these guys on again because they're really good friends of mine and they love talking about this stuff as well. So I will have Lil P and Commander Frost links in the description. Please, please, please check them out. They're awesome streamers,
the like
content
button.
creators,
Yeah, smash it.
gamers. Hit the like button.
Smash the like, jingle the
Subscribe.
dingle, all that stuff.
Jingle the dingle?
Jingle the dingle. I used to say it all the time at the end of my videos. It was funny.
All
I
right,
should go back to saying that. It was fun. Jingle the dingle. The notification thing.
Right. All right, guys. Thank you so much. We'll see you in the next episode. Bye.